Hello friends, welcome to another episode of I Play Games and Film It. This is an episode that I'm playing, it's late at night, I'm a little tired, I'm a little worn out. It's an episode of Dan Talks, and it's something that I've been thinking about and considering quite a lot lately, and it's become a topic that I've wanted to discuss as of what's happened this evening. And over the last kind of 36 hours or so, and it was in regards to one of the guests that came into the restaurant tonight. For those of you who don't know, I work in a restaurant full time, and yes, it was all part and parcel of what had happened tonight. Now, as you know, the title of the video is "We Are the Parallel Universes," and I certainly do believe that. Perhaps not in a scientific kind of Star Trekky, Star Wars kind of way, you know, with teleporters and lasers and phasers and that kind of thing. I'm not sure about that. But no, that's kind of the perception that I see it as, and the reason being is based on what happened over the last kind of 36 hours. So, if I may, from the top, I'll make this quick. From the top, a lady comes in, she wants to book a table the night before the busiest night of the week. This every week we are busy on this night. So obviously it is honestly a bit of a pain in the arse that she booked a big table on such a busy night the day before. So she's done that. Then she doesn't want to go with the menu that we offer, or we don't even offer it. We have to do these menus as part and parcel of tables that size because we can't very easily accommodate 4 parties that are that big and give them the entire menu because it's too much. Our kitchen cannot handle that. They can't do it. Certainly not on the busiest night of the week when they've got the rest of the restaurant to consider. So she did that as well. She basically outright refused. Then she made her own menu, which is problematic in its own way. But she just basically built her own menu. Then she basically decided to come in half an hour late. They came half an hour late to their table, and that kind of puts us out as well, because in a restaurant you do try to plan around when people are going to arrive. Certainly big tables, because when a big table comes in, depending on the size of the kitchen or the ability of the restaurant, what can happen is the kitchen can stop, or we may have to stop cooking for anyone else except that big table, because it's a lot of people to cook for. It's essentially cooking for 20 people at the same time. And that is hard. That is a challenge for anyone. So yeah, the kitchen has to stop cooking for everyone else. So we have to plan around that, and the plan is planning around them actually arriving at the time they book at, which is why it's so important for them to do that. But they turn up half an hour late, which fucks us royally for the rest of the night, pretty much. It screws us. Are they sorry? No. Do they care? No. Then, the food's coming out of the kitchen. They want to change their order at the last minute while the food is leaving the kitchen. Again, they don't realise how that puts us out. They don't realise how badly that screws us over, and the fact that we can't basically do it. And they're left disappointed because obviously from their perspective they're thinking the customer's always right, the customer should get whatever they want, the customer should just be praised, and we should wipe their asses and feed them with silver spoons constantly all the time. And so on and so forth. So on. And I was annoyed. I think a lot of people in the restaurant were annoyed by this because of the fact that basically she didn't give us a lot of warning that she was going to want to be treated like a queen. And I don't have a problem with treating anyone like a queen. Of course they want to be treated like a queen. They come out, they want to spend money, they've dressed up. You know, they've taken their time out to come out for a meal and they want to have a good night. That's what I do. That's part of being a waiter. You know, you entertain them in that regard. You know, you take care of them for the night so they don't have to take care of themselves. No problem with that at all. Without warning, that's very hard to do. That's very hard to do if you're not given the warning to do that. And the reason I'm telling you all this is not so I can sound like another waiter who's just moaning about people and so on and so forth, which is actually interesting because it's in a video I actually want to do about that as well. The reason I'm saying all this is it occurred to me tonight that this woman had pretty much never worked in a position where she's had to take care of the general public. And it's certainly not in the same fashion that we do in the restaurant. Definitely not in the same fashion as we do in the restaurant. purely because it was evident in the way that she communicated with us, the way that she had arranged the entire booking, the way that she had expected things that just happen, so things to just materialize and be great. And that's fine, but it just kind of communicates to me that she doesn't really understand how things are supposed to work, and how things can work, and how a customer can actually get the best out of an experience, actually by being better organized, by actually ensuring that the service provider is okay with providing the service. And in that, I kind of thought, well, it's not fair for me to be mad at her about this, because in her universe, and this is where we're getting into it now, in her universe, she understands her job. She understands her job very well because she's done her job for however long. And she's possibly able to do her job very well. If I were to walk into the position of having to do her job, I'd probably screw it up royally. Because, from my best knowledge, I don't know what she does, but I'm guessing it's nothing in the realms of what I do. So I would then be the one who would kind of assume and expect and have wrong expectations because I don't know what her job is. And she's just walked into my position or into my job and gone, this is how I expect it to happen, therefore it will happen this way, otherwise it's not good enough. And you know, it can't work like that. But that's her world. That's her world, and that's her universe. That's what she believes. That's what in her mind is truth, and therefore that is what is happening. That is how it works. So yeah, it just made me think. Basically, like I can't be mad at this woman because in her world she's right, and in the world of customer service, the customer is always right. But at the same time, within my universe, within my knowledge, within my understanding, I know these things, and I mean, I could be in a position to share how it's supposed to work. I mean, I guess in terms of the job, it doesn't make sense. But in terms of my universe, I don't understand that she doesn't understand. Because I've done this job, I know this job, I've lived this job. So I to me it seems common sense. To me it seems like a given that of course you don't book a table the night before the busiest night of the week. But how is she to know it's the busiest night of the week? She doesn't probably dine out that often. She wouldn't, work in restaurants. She doesn't know that it gets busy on a Saturday night. She wouldn't assume that. Like a lot of people don't. People who walk around on a Saturday night and just go, I'm just going to go into a restaurant and have a meal. It's probably better to book because it's Saturday night, it's busy. But they won't assume that because that's not within their universe to understand. And it goes out many things. And at this point, actually, I wanted to mention a great film, Being John Malkovich, which kind of explores that idea of other universes, other people's universes, and being in other people's universes and having different perspectives on how they live, how they think, how they understand, and certainly their perspective of other people. I mean, I'm sure you could have a person, a human being, that has far different opinions upon them from two different people. I mean, if you look at, say, the Republican Party, Democratic Party, the two varying groups of people would have their different perspectives on it because of their own universes and the way they are. And that's another example of how we live in parallel universes and how we exist within these universes and how we stay within the universes that we live in, how we built them around us, how we built these kind of bubbles. And I think the only bad part that I see is the fact that we haven't been able to comprehend that our bubble is just our bubble. It doesn't belong to anyone else. I think a lot of the conflicts we have perhaps with other human beings and the frustrations we have of not being understood or not understanding other people is the fact that we just think, or we just, take for granted that our life is only our life, or our universe is only our universe, and it's not one for us to impose upon anyone else, and it certainly isn't one for us to assume everyone else has. If you want to take someone who's lived in America and someone who's lived in, I don't know, grown up, let's say, in poor parts of Africa, you probably find there are grand differences in the way that those two lives have drawn out. And those are two different universes. In Africa, I remember I lived in Africa for 2 years, and, for me it was normal, let's say, to go to the beach on a regular basis and buy fresh lobsters from the local guys who caught lobsters and sold them, or crabs and so on. I was used to the large waves that they had out there. That was my universe. I thought at that point growing up, only in the world, in my universe, waves are big. That's it. That's what I believed, and that's what I was led to believe, because that's what I saw and that's what I grew up seeing. Only until I came back to England with a kind of a more mature mind did I notice, oh, maybe they're not big everywhere else. But I created this universe where that's what I believed and that's what I saw. But I hadn't considered that there were other possibilities outside of my universe, outside of my knowledge and outside of my existence, that actually kind of shake up what I believe I know or what I believe I understand. And I know it seems like such a grand thing to get from such a small environment, but it's something I live, a lot of the time, and I think it's something everyone lives. When you have a job and someone passes judgment upon that job saying, that must be quite easy, that must be straightforward, it must be a simple case of this and that, and you're there like, well, actually, no, it's not. It's not. I had to do a lot of training to do this job, and it's not nearly as easy as it sounds. I tell people I did computer games production at university, and people go, oh, that must have been fun, that must have been a piece of piss, that must have been a DOS. Well, I can understand how you got there, but not really. It's not. Game design is not easy, and game production is certainly not easy in the slightest. Making a game is far more scientific than anyone could possibly imagine, but it's perceived to be, because within a universe and within their space and within their world, that's what they want to believe, that's what they understand. Another example is the NHS. I mean, I can't stand the way that people moan about the NHS, for one, because it's a free service, for Christ's sake, and I strongly believe that you never, ever complain about something that is free. I'm sorry, I know you'll hate me for saying it, but that's how I feel. Do not complain about something that you have spent no money on whatsoever. Certainly when those people are intended on saving your fucking life. So, I don't accept complaints about the NHS at all. I don't take them. That's another topic, all the less. But it's the same there. I mean, I guess the way that people complain about it is that they assume that that it's a very simple process. Someone walks into a building, someone sees them, and they get healed. They get sorted out. Done. Simple. Straightforward. Yeah, sure. Just walk in somewhere, get healed, and everything's fine. But no, it can't be that simple. I can't understand. I can't begin to try and explain how not simple it is. But I am confident that it is not quite that simple, considering we're talking about who might have walked in at that time. What are they actually sick with? Can someone diagnose that at that point? Is that the right place for them to be? Who's available to deal with this right now? Can we deal with this right now? All of these variables that you need to think about. And then you start to think, okay, well, actually, maybe it's not that straightforward. Maybe it's not that easy. But we naturally grow up, and we have these universes built around us that do run in parallels to other people. And they never can truly cross, because for them to cross, I believe that they'd have to essentially be the same. They would have to be the same universe for them to actually meet, which is why I believe they run parallel, because they're all different. Every person is growing up with different experiences, different lives, different thoughts, different senses of humor, just different things, and we all have different perspectives on stuff. And I just find that really interesting, and I found it easier for me to not get angry at this woman for not really understanding how it works, because I just can't. I can't really get mad at this woman. There's no need for me to get mad at this woman for not understanding. I don't think we should really get mad at anyone for not understanding. I mean, okay, yeah, might be annoying. Yeah, it might seem ignorant, but that's only because in your world, where you know how it works, where you understand how things work, it will seem ignorant. But in their world, in their universe that they've grown up in, they don't know anything about it. So it's not stupid to them. It's just they don't know. But they want to simplify it for whatever social reason they want to simplify it. I mean, that might be something else to discuss. They won't want to simplify it. So they give the impression that they have an understanding of it. But that's a whole nother discussion. I mean, that's just silliness all in its own right. But that's how I feel. Like, we all live in parallel universes. We actually have our own individual, personal universes that we live in, and it might seem like quite a lonely theory to have, but it's true. It absolutely is true. I mean, I know for a fact that some people can't even agree with their own parents, and even your soulmates, you know, you'll have things that you may disagree on. But that's because, you know, that's how individual your universe is, and that's how singular your life is, really. And so it's not necessarily a matter of being mad at someone for not knowing. It's more a matter of, even if the moment's right, teaching them and letting them understand. And certainly if you're the person not in the know, realizing you don't really understand and looking to find the knowledge so that you do understand. Because certainly I think there are a couple of things, and I'm going to end it on this point. There are a couple of things that I think brings universes together. And I think one of them would be happiness. Happiness is a universal emotion and a universal gesture. You know, laughing, being pleasant, being nice, I think it's universal, and I think it's recognized everywhere without language barriers. It perhaps doesn't even need all of your six senses to communicate with. You know, happiness is there. And I think happiness does come through, you know, sharing and understanding. And there's certainly understanding. Perhaps based on the notion that misery and fear comes through lack of understanding, through not knowing, through not having knowledge. And without knowledge, you do become fearful. You do paint your own pictures of certain things, and usually those pictures turn out negative because you're fearful of it. So having the knowledge there makes you more comfortable, makes you confident, makes you happier. And so that's kind of how I built this theory around it. It's taken a lot of thought. I spent a lot of time thinking about it. I don't know if you've noticed. But that's my perspective on the matter anyway. But yeah, sorry for the late night post. You can probably tell it's a late night. I mean, I've already cracked open the beers. And it's been a heavy shift. 3 flights of stairs, up and down, all night. Wonderful stuff. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, comment, click the thumb button, share with a friend if you like. And I'll see you in another episode of I Play Games and Film It. Do comment, again, on whether or not you understand what the fuck I've been talking about for the last 15 minutes. If not, maybe I can put it in words, in text better, so I will respond. I will let you know if it's not been clear. If it has been clear, let me know what you think. I mean, do you think it makes sense that we have our own universes? Is it perhaps a little too deep to think about? Is it too much to think about? Because it can seem quite lonely, really. Obviously, if you use the word universe is awesome in the natural definition of the word. And so, to think that you are really alone in it, it's not a great feeling. I'm comfortable with it, that's fine. But yeah. Let me know what you think, guys. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And sorry again for only posting one video in the day. This is the second, even though it's late. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Just want to fight to shine. To doubt to skin to blind. To try to grip into our spine. To cast myself as blind.